Elijah. President Trump is set to make a major announcement from the White House in the Roosevelt room. And he's going to make a deal to lower prescription costs of Americans. This could impact from insulin to everyday meds, and we're breaking down why it matters, who benefits, and what's real versus hype. This could change the conversation around healthcare costs. So we want to just thank you guys, and wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And those, hopefully you'll be back for New Year's. Wish you a Happy New Year's as well. And we want to say thank you to our number one fans and people who have taken the time to subscribe and spent their time joining the year with us. But what we need to let people know, when the replay, once we upload this live video, we're going to pinpoint the conversation, because that's where all the juices flow at the end of the video when we react. And we also going to have a truth meter. So we're going to, whatever happened during the week, all the news, we're going to have a discussion. We're going to capitalize on some of the major stories for the week. So we are changing, and we want to be fresh and new coming into the new year. And we want to thank everyone for just learning with us. This is all new for us, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us. And we want to talk about as well why we feel as though it's so important to air Trump's conferences, his meetings, and all sorts of things. Because as Americans, I think that we need to know what's going on. I like that he is transparent, whether you agree with him or not. He does come across as someone who enjoys talking to the people. And a lot of people say he be lying, but guess what? All the politicians lie. But I'm glad that he takes all questions at any time from the media. But I'm looking forward to this meeting that he's going to have in the Roosevelt room, because the rest of the world, they don't pay what we pay as Americans for health care. And it's wrong, especially when you have multiple prescriptions or your children have prescriptions. And that out of pocket cost can be devastating for a family when they have to decide if we're going to pay for this medication that's needed. They might have a heart condition, or we're going to pay for our mortgage to keep a roof over our heads. Are we going to pay that card note for transportation to get to the doctor's office? Or are we going to pay for the medication? So there are a lot of sacrifices that Americans have to make on a daily basis when it comes to prescriptions, because we're not that healthy. So I want to thank God for Robert J. Kennedy, because I think that focusing on food, it's what you eat, is causing a lot of these diseases and complications that we have. So try to eat organic if you can afford it. Don't feed your kids all that fast food, because our children have diabetes, they have cancers, they have adult diseases that doesn't belong to them, in the name of Jesus. So anyway, here goes Trump, and God bless.
It's a great honor. These are among the greatest executives anywhere in the world, so it's an honor to have them with us, and I think they'll be very happy about what we have to say. I thought I'd start by announcing two things. This is the gold card, as you know. The Secretary of Commerce and myself and some others have been working on it for quite a while. And Howard, how much have we sold in a few days?
$1,300,000,000 worth in
Woo!
a couple of days.
That's essentially it's the green card on steroids. And it's a pathway. And it's been an amazing thing. And as you know, millions of people pour into our country from the border. And not anymore, they don't know, nobody comes in actually anymore. But under the Biden administration, 25 million people came in. And they came from prisons and mental institutions, and they were drug dealers, and all sorts of people came in that shouldn't be here. They came from the jails all over Venezuela, all over the world, the Congo. And now when they come in, they have to pay $1 million. And we've had a tremendous surge, and you're going to be happier than anybody, because when you go to Harvard and the Wharton School of Finance and all of the great schools and you want to hire somebody and then you find out that, I'm sorry, they can't stay in our country for more than 24 hours. They graduate from the top schools. These people want to hire them. Now you're able to buy a card and you're able to keep people in the country. They can't keep people in the country, and they go to Canada, they go to other countries. A lot of times they go to Canada even though they work for the companies behind me. So now you're able to buy, the companies are able to buy the card and use it for people coming in to our country so they can stay in our country instead of being immediately shipped out after graduating. They graduate number one in their class at the best school, and they want to go to work for Johnson & Johnson, as an example, who's not here today, who will be here next week. They're well represented here. But they want to go to work for one of the great companies behind me, and you learn they can't do that because they're shipped out of the country. They're not shipped out anymore. So your company will pay a little bit, but that's okay. You'll be able to get them. So I just wanted to, it's called the Gold Card, the Trump Gold Card. Quite a beautiful thing. And you've taken in just a few days, you've taken in over $1.5 billion. That goes all toward reducing debt, goes into the Treasury of the United States. And I thought I'd do this before we start on Most Favored Nations. I want to read this because I would have said it the other night, but I was not allotted too much time, actually. You had a couple of brand new shows opening, and I understand that. But I do want to say, and some people say, oh, you shouldn't say it. It sounds negative. To me, I think it sounds positive. The only reason our unemployment tucked up and went up to 4.5%, which it went up to 4.5%, which is quite a low number, but still, is because we are reducing the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before. In other words, government jobs are way down. And as you know, we don't need 10 people to fill one job, which is what we had in government in many cases. So the government workforce by numbers that have never been seen before has been reduced very substantially, and it will continue to be reduced. 100% of our new jobs are in the private sector. So this is for the last number of months. Think of that, 100%. Are you shocked to hear that? That's the way to make America great again, when you think, right? It's the only way. 100% of new jobs are in the private sector. And I could reduce unemployment to 2%, 1%, or practically zero by just hiring people into the federal government, even though those jobs are not necessary, which is what we had before. We had millions and millions of people having jobs that they never even showed up. So I wish that the media would report that the 4.5% is an amazing number. And again, if they don't report it, I guess maybe I'll just let some people go into the federal workforce. It'll look really wonderful. And what we're doing is the only way you can do it to make a country great. You can't have the government jobs, you have to have the private sector jobs. And these are among the biggest hirers of private sector. So we have reduced the federal workforce by tremendous hundreds of thousands of people. And that reflects in unemployment, but that will be used up very quickly. And we've 100% of the new jobs, which by the way, it's a record-setting number of jobs too, is in the private sector. And I think that'll get even stronger when these buildings being built all over the country, of which they're building some too, but AI and auto plants and everything else, they're being built all over the country. When that happens, your numbers will be even better. But I would like you to report it the way it is. We don't do the federal workforce jobs. We're reducing that very substantially. I'm thrilled to be joined by the leaders of 9 of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, all very big names, celebrities in their own right, very, very powerful people, and they head some of the most admired companies anywhere in the world. It's a great group. To announce that they've agreed to offer many of their flagship drugs, really all of their flagship drugs, at heavily discounted most favored nations prices. In other words, whatever the drug sells for over the world, in the world, whatever the lowest number is, if it's Germany, if it's in UK, anywhere, we will match that price. Right now, sometimes it's 10 times higher. We've been laughed at and scoffed at for years. For years. In fact, I was going to do it in my first term, but unfortunately, with the advent of COVID, as you would say, it was not, I don't think it was a very good time to be hitting up Spain, Italy, France, but now we're doing it. So the hardest thing to do was going to be to get a country to do it, because we would have a pill in New York that was for sale for $130, and you could buy it in Germany and France and Spain and someplace. Anyway, they set their own prices for $10. So we'd pay 10 or 13 times more, pay 5 times more, pay all different prices. Now, whatever the lowest price is. Now, the pharmaceutical companies were difficult, but they also love our country. They knew it was unfair. And they were great. I appreciate it. But the bigger problem was going to be the countries. How are you going to get the countries to do it? And we told them, if you don't do it, we're going to have to use tariffs, and we're going to charge you a 10% tariff, which is far more money than the money we're talking about. And they immediately agreed to do it. So we have all the foreign countries agreeing to do it. If we didn't have the use of tariffs, we would never be able to do this. But we used tariff, and they said, is it a threat? I said, yes, it is a threat. Then they said, we will do it, and they dropped the price. So what's happening, because the world is bigger than the United States in terms of people, that same pill would go from $10 to $20 for them, which is an increase, but it wouldn't go to, midway. But it would go from $10 to $20. Ours would go from $130 to $20. So we dropped way down. They went up a little bit. And everyone knows it's the way it is. They, for years, would just say, no. As medicine got more expensive for us, they said, nope, you can't sell it in this country. Let the United States pay. And we had other presidents, all of them, said, okay, we'll pay. So we were subsidizing the entire world. We're not doing it anymore. This is the biggest thing having to do with drugs in the history of the purchase of drugs. And I don't think the maybe press will treat it as a story. This is the biggest front page story that you'll ever see. This is a huge bearing too on the healthcare, because a big part of healthcare is drugs, pharmaceuticals, right, Oz? And this will have a tremendous impact on the reduction of healthcare. The biggest impact is going to be that the money should be paid not to the insurance companies, directly to the people, and the people will buy their own healthcare. So we're going to be working that. The problem is that the Democrats are very much controlled by the insurance companies that make all that money, but we're not going to let that happen. Starting next year, American drug prices will come down fast and furious, and will soon be among the lowest in the developed world. So in other words, whatever the lowest price for a certain drug, of which these companies make much of it, whatever the lowest price is, that price will come down to that price. So we will get the lowest price anywhere in the world. If they're lower in England than they are in Germany, we take the England price. As of today, 14 out of 17 largest pharmaceutical companies have now agreed. 14 out of 17. Oh, those three companies, no, they're in deep trouble. But actually they've agreed, because I think those three companies are coming in at a different time next week. So they've agreed. Johnson & Johnson is one of them, right?
After the holidays.
Why they couldn't do it faster?
No, we're going to be talking about Trump RX.
Oh, okay. Trump RX. Trump RX is doing well. As of today, 14 out of the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies, but they've all agreed, have now agreed to drastically lower drug prices for their American patients, for the American people and patients. This represents the greatest victory for patient affordability in the history of American healthcare by far. And every single American will benefit. So this is the biggest thing ever to happen on drug pricing and on healthcare. This will have a tremendous impact on healthcare itself. I want to thank Sanofi CEO Paul Hudson. Paul? Hi, Paul. I hope they have you in some order. I'll be checking.
I'm going to go yes.
Okay, well, we'll do the best we can. Thank you, Paul. Great company, by the way. Novartis CEO, Vas Narasimhan. Thank you very much, Vas. Great job. Genentech CEO, Ashley Meragri. Where are you, Ashley? How are you? Hi. Thank you very much. Great companies. Behringer Inky Mine President Jean Michael Boers. John Michael, thank you very much. Gilead CEO Dan O'Day. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Great job. That's a good company. Bristol Myers Squibb Executive Vice President Carrie Gallman. Carrie? Thank you. Thank you very much. GSK CEO Emma Wormsley. Emma? Thank you very much, Emma. Great job. Merck CEO Rob Davis. Great company. Thank you. Great company. How long have you been CEO?
Almost 5 years.
Very good. You're doing a good job. And Amgen Executive Vice President and CFO Peter Griffith. Peter? Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. You okay? Fake news. We want you to be healthy. Are you all right? The camera's not okay, but she's okay. That's more important. We have good medicine for you if you need some medicine. One of them can take good care of it. We're also joined by Secretaries Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Howard Lutnick, Ambassador, and really some incredible ambassadors. Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and the FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary. They're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. Good job. For decades, Americans have been forced to pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs by far, not just a little bit. We were like a whipping post, the United States, and it's just been 4% of the world's population. We have 4% of the world's population, and consumers pay only 13% of all prescription drugs, yet pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits. Think of that. So we have 4% of the population, 13% of prescription drugs, and yet the people behind me, who are wonderful people, make 75% of their profits from the American customer. So they understood that better than anybody, that we have to do something. That's why I signed an executive order instructing my administration to do everything in its power to slash prescription drug prices for Americans while getting other countries to pay more. And we don't want more, we want this fair. We want to pay the same thing. They used to blame it, remember, on research and development. And I said, well, research and development for everybody. And everybody understood. And as a result, the United Kingdom's National Health Service agreed to pay the fair share for prescription drugs for the first time in 26 years. And we expect other countries in Europe will do the same. And if they don't, we're going to put tariffs on them and we'll get the same amount of money plus. We'll take a nice return on the money. We signed historic agreements with Pfizer, Eli Lilly, AstraZeneca, Novo Nordisk, and EMD, Serrano, to reduce prices by 300, 400, 500, 600, and even 700%, and sometimes even more than that. I remember when I had a news conference in my first term, I was the first president that reduced prices from the beginning of my term to a year, from January to December, 0.25%. And I thought it was the greatest thing because it's the first one in 28 years. Now we're talking about numbers that are so incredible. 0.25%, think of that. I was proud of it because it hadn't happened in 28 where drug prices went down. Well, now you're going to see numbers that nobody would believe possible. Think of that. 500, 600, 700, 800%. Today we're building on these accomplishments. The companies assembled in this room have agreed to offer all of their drugs to Medicaid and most favored nations pricing. You're going to get most favored nations pricing, meaning they're going to pay our country the lowest price paid anywhere in the world. and they will list their most popular drugs on trumprx.gov. Trumprx.gov. And I didn't name it that, somebody named it that. And I guess they assumed that was, did you name it, Oz, or Bobby name it?
We all named it together.
Okay, well, I'm honored to have the name. And so far that's turned out because the numbers are so incredible. It's an honor. And you're going to get massive discounts to all consumers. So massive discounts will be not even offered. It's just going to be a fact. All consumers will get massive discounts. That's trumprx.gov. Every new drug produced by these companies in the future will permanently be offered to American patients at most favored nation prices. You know, people used to talk about that for years, but nobody ever did anything about it. No other president did. And it wasn't easy, but it worked out great. And I'm so proud of the people behind me. As an example of the price reductions we have secured through these new agreements, Santa Fe will cut the cost of its blood thinner Plavix from $750 to less than $16. Wow. Where's Santa Fe? Where are you? What? That's incredible, huh? Could have gone to $17, man. That's amazing. And you're going to do tremendous business. You're going to do much more business. So that's coming from $750. Think of that, $750. And that's the number one blood thinner. I don't want to know about that. I take an aspirin. To less than $16. Think of that. Bristol Myers Squibb, great company, both great companies, will cut the price of HIV medication, Raytaz, from nearly $1,500, $1,500 to $217. And it will cut the cost of hepatitis B medication, Baraclude, from $1,400 to $413. Gilead will cut the hepatitis C medication, Epclusa, from nearly $25,000 to less than $2,500. And all prices are like that because we're bringing them down to the world's lowest price, everything. And these people really are pioneers. What they're doing is so great. And in the end, they're going to do much more business, and it's. I think it's going to even out for them as a company. The countries will have to pay more, but even for them, because of the fact that the world is quite a bit bigger, it won't be very severe, I hope. I also want to thank these companies and their incredible executives for their generous contribution to American national security, because it's really what it is. It's, to a large extent, national security. In addition, you can't continue to pay 13, 14 times more than other countries and think you're going to have security. Collectively, they will invest over $150 billion to build up domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing in America. They're going to be, because of tariffs, they're coming in, and I think because of the love of our country, maybe because of the November 5th election, but because of tariffs, they're going to be coming in. They're building already. Just about all of them have started. They're building their plants in all states all over the country, and they're building incredible pharmaceutical plants. We're going to have close to 100% of our pharmaceuticals in a very short period of time made in the USA. As part of these agreements, Merck will also donate 3.5 tons of antibacterials to be placed in America's strategic reserve. Thank you very much. GSX will donate over 200 pounds of ingredients to make rescue inhalers, which is a big deal, and Bristol Myers Squibb will donate 6.5 tons of blood thinners. We appreciate it. Such amazing companies. Every president for a generation has promised to reduce drug prices, but they were talking about a little bit like that. I am the only one of them to ever even think in terms of favored nations, and that's what this is. Favored nations. It's called most favored nation. We are now a most favored nation. I want to thank the leaders in the room, and I also want to thank the leaders of all of the countries that had a pay a little more so that we were treated fairly. I really do. I want to thank the leaders of countries. And they knew the alternative was not much of an alternative, because if they didn't do it, we were going to charge them tariffs. And the tariffs would have been much more severe than what they did. But they did do it as soon as they realized about the tariffs. Then they did it very easily. No, they're very good people. Let's start with Amgen's Executive Vice President, who I already introduced, and I introduced the people here. So I'd like to ask Bobby and Oz to say a few words, and also I'd like to ask if anybody would like to speak on behalf of your company, or just say how great this country is doing, and you're all building tremendous facilities now in the United States instead of other countries that we all know about. But if you'd like to say something, so Oz, you want to start, and Bobby? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, he gets taller with time. Mr. President, each of the 9 CEOs will speak very briefly about what they have done, because it is a patriotic effort. This is affordability in action. We talk about it in abstract, but this is not an abstract concept. This is a very concrete, tangible, personal reality, because we've got moms with sick children who cannot afford their medications.
True.
Working families cannot make ends meet. Seniors on fixed income. We have 80 million people have to pay more than $100 a month for their prescriptions. They just can't keep up. So this is a hardcore approach to this, driven by a bold leader who's taken bold action. With that bold action, we've now created a standard for the industry. The 9 leaders behind us run the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. They're
Wow.
joining 5 other companies that have been through this White House process over the last 2 months. I want to make sure you appreciate that it doesn't happen with just the people in the room. They're wonderful individuals: Chris Klump, Inma Hernandez, John Brooks, Theo Merkel, Corey, Heidi. A lot of folks work their tails off to make this happen, and that's why we've gotten to the finish line. The prices that President Trump left to the next administration on pharmaceuticals have gone up 25% until the president took office. We are reversing that trend and making sure that Americans can afford to get the life-saving solutions. Because if these brilliant innovators create solutions to cancer, hypertension, hepatitis, and a bunch of other viruses, illnesses that have been lethal throughout human history, but you can't afford them, then we're not treating you fairly. And that's why what the president has done is so critically important. He mentioned quickly the amount of money that they've contributed towards our strategic stockpile and to building in this country, but fundamentally the health of the American people will benefit because this president took bold action. And from my personal position, I couldn't do anything I do without Secretary Kennedy, who just does not take no for an answer and will call me even more than the president does to make sure things happen right. Mr. Secretary. Even more.
I don't think that's true. I think we got a lot of calls from the president, and at one point in this negotiation, we both stopped answering our phones late at night because we couldn't take it anymore. But I want to thank you, Mr. President, for doing this. President Trump, when he was up here a moment ago, talked about how historic this is and how every one of the news outlets in here ought to have World War III size headlines about this. And I was reminded about how astonishing this achievement is a couple of days ago when one of my sons, 29 years old, very, very left-wing Democrat, and disagrees with a lot of the policies of this administration. He called me and he said, "Dad, I want to tell you how proud I am about this. This is the best achievement that could happen to our country." This is something Bernie Sanders has been clamoring for 25 years. Elizabeth Warren has been clamoring for. Joe Biden promised the American people. President Obama, President Clinton all promised to do this for the American people. All of them expressed their outrage, their indignation that we are paying 1/10 in some cases the price of drugs that they're selling in Europe. We developed them here. We manufactured some of them in New Jersey. We are paying $1,300 for a drug manufactured in New Jersey. The same drug manufactured in the same plant was being sold for $88 in London. And everybody recognized how unfair this was. We were paying for all the innovation in this country. And yet, the rest of the world was free riding on it. And President Trump told me and Dr. Oz at the beginning of this term, this is what I want you to do, and he leaned on us. I think both of us were very skeptical at that point that it could be done, but I would say this is a miracle, and I'm very grateful to all the CEOs who saw the sense in this, who understood the injustice and the unsustainability of the system, and who put public health, and particularly the public health of Americans, ahead of some of their other priorities. And all of them came to the table, and President Trump asked us to do three things. One, to deliver the lowest prices in the world and make this affordable for Americans. Number two, to do it in a way that we would not hurt innovation, that we would keep America as the incubator and the dominating force in innovation around the world. And three, to bring drug manufacturing home to this country. I can tell you by the end of this term, 95% of the drugs we will have MFN. In other words, Americans will be paying the lowest price in the world for 95% of the drugs. You talk about affordability, people are talking about affordability. Nobody has done anything for affordability greater than this. So I want to thank you, President Trump, for your leadership, for your vision, and for your relentless harassment of us to make sure that's all got done. And I really want to just thank all of the CEOs, all these companies, for coming to the table in good faith, working out a very, very pragmatic agreement that allows them to continue to do the innovation that is going to save lives and alleviate suffering around the world, and do it in a way that is more fair to the American people. Thank you.
So we're gonna, oh no, I'm first.
So this is an example of what President Trump does. It's the entire administration, the whole government working together. Bobby and I met at the beginning of the administration of how we could work together to bring drug prices down as the president instructed, and bring manufacturing home. So they've said they're gonna have 95% of the drugs be at the lowest price in the world. And when we walked in, and the president walked in, we were making about 16% of our drugs were being made in America, right? And we are having hundreds, the people behind us are committed hundreds of billions of dollars to bring their manufacturing here and bring their research here. And that employs Americans and keeps our drugs produced safely. You want to know when you take that drug is made in America, overseen by the FDA, and it is safe. So the president not only is driving prices down, he's doing a 1-2 punch of bringing production here. And the third thing he's doing is when you take that drug, you know it was made in America, protected by Americans, and it's safe. And I can't be more proud. I think this is the most impressive thing I've ever seen, because none of you, and even none of us, thought this was possible. Only President Trump, he knew it, he drove it, and he has delivered it here today. And I can't be more proud to be standing next to him, because this is delivering for America.
Thank you. We'll start with Amgen. It is alphabetical.
If you'd like to say something, feel free to do that.
They're all going to say something short, so go ahead.
Well, you go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President.
Please.
Mr. President.
To the podium.
To the podium. There we go.
Okay,
Move
rookie.
back up, get taller again. Mr. President, thank you for the opportunity to work with you to improve the affordability of medicines for American patients. Amgen recently launched Amgen Now, a direct-to-patient option for Repatha that cuts out PBM middlemen and significantly improves affordability for people who are uninsured, facing high out-of-pocket costs, or paying on their own. Repatha will also soon be added to TrumpRx.com. A US-based pioneer for more than 4 decades, we've invested more than $40 billion in US research and manufacturing since 2018, supported by pro-innovation policies that you've championed. Thank you again, Mr. President. We look forward to continuing to work together to deliver meaningful benefits and innovation for U.S. patients.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jean-Michel Boers from Boehringer Ingelheim. It's a true honor to be here for an agreement that we believe will make a true difference for American patients. For 140 years, Boehringer Ingelheim, a family-owned company, has been committed to improving health and outcomes to save lives of patients. With today's agreement, we believe that we have actually struck the delicate balance that there is to protect America's leadership in research and innovation, and at the same time ensure that patients pay a fair price for their medicines. So from rare diseases in oncology of pulmonary fibrosis, where we do research into chronic diseases, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, obesity maybe in the future, I will go quick. We will continue to work for the American patients. We are onshoring manufacturing to the US to very rapidly, within the time of this administration, have the majority of our products produced in the US. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bristol Myers Squibb is an American company that for more than 6,500 years has been protecting and extending American lives. And today I'll make two very brief announcements. One, we are very proud to announce that we will provide Eliquis, our #1 prescribed medicine, to Medicaid for free. We're also answering the administration's calls, as the president said, to shore up the national medicine reserves by donating more than 6.5 tons of Eliquis. These actions build on BMS's commitment to invest $40 billion in the US in research and development and manufacturing. And these investments reflect our enduring commitment to work with the administration to improve patient lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for shining a light on the importance of our innovation and getting all countries to pay for this innovation. I'm proud to represent Genentech, America's first biotech company. We are offering our flu medicine, which is very important this year, given the severity of the flu, Xofluza, for $50 direct to patients, and that's a 70% price reduction, and that also will be available on TrumpRx. We're also very proud of our $50 billion investment in US manufacturing and new research labs. Our new facility in North Carolina will bring 11,000 jobs to America. These are important steps forward for Americans and also for patients. Thank you very much.
I saw your rendering. It's beautiful what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, to you and the administration. I think this objective of achieving the commitment to affordability and future innovation is extraordinary. And let me just say that the company I represent, Gilead Sciences, the scientists reach for cures every day. In fact, they've come up with medicines that have cured both certain forms of hepatitis and also certain forms of blood cancer. And we just recently launched a new medicine that's only given twice a year to prevent HIV. And we're working with Secretary Kennedy and his entire team, as well as the State Department, as a part of your ex-US strategy to support ending the epidemic really during your term. And so we look forward to working with you on that. I've never been more optimistic about the innovation that exists across these companies and the impact this can have on America's health and economy. Thank you very much. Yeah, it literally prevents HIV almost 100% given twice a year. And so the America First State Department strategy, we've partnered with them, and we're also partnering with Secretary Kennedy and his team. Thank you very much.
GSK cares deeply about improving the affordability of medicines, which is why today we're announcing for the 40 million Americans who live with asthma or COPD, we're going to be significantly lowering the cost of the medicines they rely on to breathe more easily every day. We're going to be going direct on 8 of our core medicines with deep discounts, and we're investing in American health security by donating the ingredients that go into rescue inhalers like this one, so that people can access them when they need them. This triple win is on top of our commitment to invest $30 billion in American manufacturing, American research, American technology, and American talent, and
Wow.
all of this to do the right thing for American patients, whether that's John in North Carolina, who says he can now visit with his granddaughters without worrying whether will have to struggle for breath, or Marsha in Kentucky, who says if her asthma inhaler is cheaper, she can properly celebrate with her family this holidays. Mr. President, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your ambition for American patients and for the partnership of all of your teams so we get ahead of disease together.
Thank you.
Boy, that was outstanding.
Mr. President, as the others have said, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. I reflect on your goal of driving affordability and access to Americans, but equally getting prices up outside the United States, and we're 100% supportive of your actions. As many of the colleagues have talked about, I represent Merck, and we also are looking to what we can do on TrumpRx.gov. In addition to bringing in our diabetes drugs, one of the things I just wanted to highlight, we have a novel oral cardiovascular drug, which has an opportunity to meaningfully lower LDL and really still go after what is the leading cause of death in the United States, which is cardiovascular disease, kills 1 million people in the United States annually. And thanks to TrumpRx.com, you will not only be able to get this pill and have an easy to take pill, but it'll be easy to get and it'll be affordable. So I appreciate your leadership and look forward to continuing to partner with you. Thank you.
Great company. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, my name is Bas Narasimhan, CEO of Novartis. Novartis is a 250-year-old company, and today we're the global leader in bringing advanced technologies to patients in the United States around the world, technologies like radioligand therapies and cell and gene therapies. What I want to highlight to you is we're bringing the manufacturing of these technologies to the United States now. We've committed to build 9 new facilities. 7 of them we already have a groundbreaking for. Dr. Makari was with me in North Carolina. We were opening up 4 new plants. Our plan is to scale manufacturing here and ensure all our critical medicines, including these most advanced technologies, are made here in the United States for U.S. patients.
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. President. I think you've convened on an extremely important subject and made more progress than perhaps anybody ever thought was frankly possible. For Sanofi, this is another day to reaffirm our commitment to patients, our unwavering support to trying to do the right thing to help patients get better outcomes. But simply, affordability has been at the heart of that for a very long time. Having concluded this contract with the President and the administration, we find ourselves able, as a joint effort, to go further than we ever thought was possible. And that's kudos to you and for what you have done. Improving affordability and preserving innovation and rewarding innovation is a very difficult balance to take. I think we feel the negotiations and the conversations have had the patient at the center throughout the entire time, as difficult as it may have been on occasions. I think what many can learn from the way this was handled, but simply, is that when you bring industry and you bring government together with the spirit of doing the right thing for patients, it is almost limitless what can be achieved. So on behalf of Sanofi, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, and the team for what has been simply an incredible amount of progress. Thank you.
So, as I watch, these are the greatest business leaders, and they're beyond that. Many are doctors. They ended up running the biggest businesses in the country, but you've done so much. And you made it a lot easier than we thought it would be. You were just, you understood to do the right thing. And as I was watching, and I know all of them, not personally, a couple of them personally, but I know them all through reading lots of business magazines and other magazines and newspapers. These are highly respected people. And I said to myself, look at what they've done. They've done something that, and as you said, something that you never thought was possible to get done. Most people thought, for the United States to have favored nations where we have the lowest drug price in the world is unthinkable. And I said to myself, we have a thing called the Unaffordable Care Act. It's unaffordable because the insurance companies make so much money, and the insurance companies totally control the Democrats. And I said to myself, standing watching these great leaders, and we have 4 other leaders coming in, Johnson & Johnson, and 4 other very big companies, actually, very great companies. They've all agreed. And they'll be coming in next week, and we appreciate them too. but they've agreed to the same thing, lowest price anywhere in the world. I said, I think that the insurance companies, we should have a meeting and we should talk to them. Because I would say that maybe with one talk, they would be willing to cut their prices by 50, 60, or 70%. They've made a fortune. They've had stock prices that have gone up 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and even 18. Think of this, they went up 1,800%, one of them went up, numbers that nobody's ever seen before. They had a nice return, not a 2%, an 1,800% return. One went up more than that. Therefore, there's a lot of fat that can be cut. And I'd like to announce here, this is just an idea that I had standing here, watching these great leaders saying that we're gonna have the lowest prices anywhere in the world, something that nobody would have thought possible. And they're gonna come out great. But also donating incredible different medications, medications that are world famous medications that one or another of them make, and donating them in some cases for free or very, very low prices. And I said, I'll bet you if I called a meeting of the insurance companies, the companies that are involved with healthcare costs, I would be willing to bet, I think, that they would reduce their prices very, very substantially. We could have fair health care in the country. Now, my initial thought, and this is what I want to do as of right now, this is the alternative, is that all of the billions and billions, ultimately trillions and trillions of dollars that's paid to these companies, we're going to pay directly to the people. But there's another way of doing it, and that's getting the insurance companies to ease up and to cut their pricing way, way down and stay part of the system. So I'm going to call a meeting. It could be in Florida this coming week, or it could be back in the White House the first week, not the second or third week. I'm going to call a meeting of the big insurance companies that have gotten so rich by receiving money, and really much, far, far more money than they're entitled to. And I have a feeling maybe if they would act like these incredible, brilliant, responsible citizens behind me, people that love our country, and they love the world. I mean, frankly, these are international companies for the most part. I'm going to call a meeting of the insurance companies. I'm going to see if they get their price down, to put it very bluntly. And I think that is a very big statement. And what happened here is the biggest statement of all, because nobody thought a thing like this was possible. And I think based on that, I won't even take questions today, because there's no way I can take questions that are anywhere comparable to what you just witnessed. You just witnessed drug prices that will go down at levels never thought even possible, Marty, right? Never thought even possible. And I think that the second biggest part of this meeting is going to be the fact that I'm going to call in the insurance companies that are making so much money, and they have to make less, a lot less. And maybe we can have reasonable health care without having to cut them out and let it all go awry. So we're going to be calling a meeting. It'll be either in Florida or it'll be here the first week. And I prefer not talking and asking questions, only for the reason that this is such a big announcement, meaning what these people have said and what the other four companies are going to say, which is exactly the same thing, that I really don't want to soil it up by asking questions, even questions that are very fair questions that I'd love to answer. So I think we have to just stop right here. I really appreciate the fact that these companies came here. These, again, a lot of the media is not aware, not really cognizant of the people standing behind me. These are the biggest executives in the world. And what they're doing today is monumental. And I want to stand it on that. And I'll see you later if you'd like. But I don't want to be asking questions having to do with anything else. I do want you to remember what I said about the 4.5%. We took 100% of the new workers was in the private sector, and we've cut tremendous numbers of government jobs. And that's why, if you look at our numbers, they're so good. Also, more than, I don't know if you've read this, came out a week ago, more than 50% of our trade deficit was cut. We cut it more than 50% in a period of a few months. Nobody thought any of these things were possible. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, that's Trump's meeting, so he's not going to take any more questions. I don't know, you guys, what do you think about this major announcement that Trump made regarding prescription drugs? Are you affected by it? See, this is like, they're not going to probably talk about it too much on the news, but you have families like that have prescriptions that cost $1,000 for a 30-day supply. 30-day supply. And if you have multiple prescriptions, it adds up, and people have to decide whether they're going to pay their mortgage, their car note, whether they're going to pay for food, because that child needs medication, that parent needs medication. So it's really been tough for Americans, because families actually have gone bankrupt because of the enormous health care prices that are charged to American citizens. It's not just prescriptions, it's everything. We're like the melting pot of the world. That's why we have $38 trillion in debt. Now, the only thing I don't agree with, I hear Trump talking about the federal jobs. Federal jobs are some of the best jobs without a degree that you can have in this country. You can send your kids to college. You can buy your single homes. The affordabilities that goes along with living wage jobs. It's not that many out here. And now with AI coming into fruition, that by 2030, like, how many jobs are going to be left really for humans? So it's a lot that's going on that people aren't paying attention to. Like, when you're going to school, for the young people that are going to college, you need to get jobs or major in jobs that are hands-on, something that a robot cannot do, something you don't need AI to do, because we're going to lose more jobs to moving forward because of progress. AI is everywhere. You can't call a bank, call anywhere. You're going to have to talk to AI before you ever get a human. I actually have been yelling and fussing at AI robots answering the phone. Like, I keep saying, human, I want to speak to a human. Well, before I can transfer you, human, so you can't even talk to someone. Sometimes you got to try to trick the AI to get a human. So times are changing, but a living wage jobs, they are important. But I'm like this. You're not going to quit a job unless you have a better job to go to. And what happened to some of these federal workers, they were fired and they were let go with no job to go to. There was no replacement jobs. That's the problem I have. You got to replace it immediately. If you are waiting for these companies to come in, whenever they're going to come in, then get rid of or downsize the federal government. They didn't make a dent into the budget, that deficit we have. That $38 trillion, those jobs didn't even touch that deficit. But those are American jobs. So we're getting rid of American jobs, but we haven't replaced the jobs. And you have to have jobs for everyone. Not just the Border Patrol. How diverse is it? Or whatever the case may be. You got to hire Americans. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Because during the last administration, they said that most people that were hired, they say were illegal citizens, that Americans weren't being hired. So now that we have a president that's America first, then we don't expect, someone like Elon, who's on his way to become a trillionaire, who never had to work for anything, to come in and get rid of American jobs. Don't get rid of American jobs. Don't get rid of living wage jobs, because when you have a living wage jobs, you can't go to McDonald's and get a job and it's going to pay your $300,000 house mortgage, or pay your car note, or pay your kids' school tuition. See, that's what keeps this government running, because you're earning a wage that you can put back into the system. But when you get rid of these jobs, where are they going from there? A lot of those jobs are skilled jobs. So I believe in replacing. Don't quit a job until you have another job. That's how it goes. And I just like to see more jobs of these companies and these promises We're hearing all of this, but actions speak louder than words. I just want to see us doing better as a country, as a nation, and the government. Like, I don't know if y'all heard Fed now and the things that are going on, how the dollar is being devalued, how the rest of the world is buying gold, and now we're printing money. It's a lot of stuff that you need to pay attention to what's going on. I'm gonna have Birch Gold, a representative, come on here because I'm investing as we speak. My portfolio is diversified. It's like I got money, banks, everything. You have to. Don't sleep what's coming in 2026. And healthcare, we're talking about prescriptions. They still didn't extend the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. So the government could shut down again at the end of January and go through this whole crap all over again. So there's a lot of things that's going to happen. And what is it? Housing taxes. They're looking at people might be taxed out of their homes. They pay their taxes on their houses. So you got to pay attention what's really going on out here. We're hearing good news, but there's a lot of things that's not being said, even by mainstream media. They need to be preparing people because 2026 is going to be we're going to go for a ride in 2026. They said like they want to get to the point like they're doing in China that you to get rid of as an example, get rid of the dollar, and then your dollar becomes obsolete, and you have to buy and get your some other form of credit or whatever from the government, and everything you buy, the government will know. See, with cash you can't track anything, but if they like we do have credit cards, but if it's run by the government, like FedNow, if it's run by the government, whatever you do, they can track, or they can say, okay, you already bought your limit to this. You're not going to get any more currency for something else you want to buy. So there's a lot of talk. It's so much that's going on, but this is not the show for it. So I have a lot of concerns. It's not just AI that's going on. That deficit is hitting us. They might snatch some houses. They say we got how many trillions of dollars in equity in homeowners that the government, like if they need it or whatever, they could come in and see some of that equity from your homes because people don't want higher taxes. Pay attention to what's going on so that you're not caught off guard, that you do, how preppers do. You got to make preparation for what's coming, and it's coming because we have to do something with this debt. And firing some federal workers is by far is not going to do anything for us. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. Trump is coming back later on, but I got to mail out some Christmas gifts and I got to hit the gym. I got things to do. We'll try to jump back on here later on. And we want to do a recap of Trump, his presidency thus far for the year and give him a grade. Like go over some of his accomplishments, go over some of the things that we didn't like, some of the things that he did. But we're going to do a recap probably on December the 30th of Trump's presidency thus far. So we do want you guys to join us, and we are going to, for the replay, we are going to pin when the conversations begin and when we're interacting and everything, and we're going to expand this channel because we do a lot of Trump because we feel like people need to hear what he has to say because he's the president of the United States. But we want to dive into more of the results of some of the actions that the president has taken, or what's going on inside of this country. So we're going to expand next year because you want to keep growing. You don't want to stay the same. But we are going to be still doing the lives because it's important. And I'm glad that he is transparent, whether you agree with him or not. At least we know where we're at. At least we got it on tape. So it's good that he talks to the Americans, and I give him respect for that. But that doesn't mean I agree with everything he does, and neither should you. No one in office, you have to challenge your leadership so that they'll do right by you. Just don't go along with everything because of party. Make sure that they keep their promises that they're running on. Don't just vote for people because of party. Vote on them because they're going to improve life for you and your family. That's what should be important. Your family should be more, and Jesus should be more important than a politician. And if you don't like what Trump's doing, the word says pray for those in authority over you. Pray for him. You got to pray for them. Prayer works. Prayer changes things. Nothing is perfect. Men are fallible. So they're going to lie, cheat, steal. They're going to do all of the above, And I think lately, it's never been before. I think that we have a lot of petty people in office. The things they say, they're not professional. They curse now. They just act so horrible. It's like I expect more from them. I don't need them acting like indifferent. I want you to act professional. I want to be able to trust you. I want to be able to say you say something and I can take you for your word, because I believe when I say something, my word is my contract. That's my bond. So I stand on my word when I say things, and I wish that more people were like that.
They act immature now.
Yeah, they act extremely immature now. All the Democrat Party and sometimes the Republican Party. That's just how it is. But we expect more from our elected officials. I don't expect them to act like Joe Blow down the street or Billy Bob or Jamila or somebody. I expect them to be professionals that we can trust and we can believe in what they're saying, and they're looking out for our best interests. But anyway, you guys, we're going to jump off. Subscribe to my other channel, Speak the Sports. Please subscribe, because I want to go live on that. We will be on tomorrow on Speak the Sports. We're going to recap, and we're going to the NFL game tomorrow against the Eagles and the Commanders, because we in the football in this house. So Speak the Sports, my other channel is Pray to All Here. Subscribe to those channels for joining us. And if you don't come back, before Christmas, I want to wish everyone on here have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, because everybody doesn't celebrate Christmas, but me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We celebrate Jesus. And Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And I pray that you have a blessed new year. Have goals, because time going by like this. You see how fast these years go by? Thank you. Merry Christmas back to you. Time is flying. And if you don't journal, if you don't do something to keep up with your days, because the time going, it's like it's speeding up. It's like this, like you get older real fast. It's like you can remember when you were young, and the way like life is like the speed of lightning right now. So thank God for each and every day that He has given you.
My God, you come to every stream, so you're clearly a fanboy of us. But first off, with college, people, the professors, the staff, the maintenance all have to get paid. It's not free. College would be impossible because people have jobs they have to do and jobs they have to get paid for. And second thing is, you're saying that this whole stream you have it muted. Now we know that's not true, and you're just trying to get attention right now.
Why are you giving it to?
Because Unicorn, I'm about to just remove him. He comes and trolls every time.
Well, you guys, God bless you guys. We love the energy, because we don't care, because we stay focused on what matters, and that's God. So God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. Come back. We might jump back on here later on, because I have a lot to do. Christmas is like 6 days away, and I just hope you guys just pray for your children. We just had another, school shooting. You gotta, the kids, you can't even send your kids off to college. And everyone they take out had higher aspirations. Like the young man wanted to become a neurosurgeon, brain surgeon. And, they're going to school with their whole lives ahead of them. And somebody just shows up and just take them out. We got to do something about this mental illness or whatever it is, because you shouldn't have to send your child to school and don't know whether or not they're going to come back home to you. Kids might have to start doing all their classes online to be safe, because this is just ridiculous. It's like it's almost become normal to have school shootings, and you're looking at how many people survived, how many people were unalive. We got to stop. Like, it's horrific. It's a terrible thing that's going on. And people just wake up and they have time to think about their actions, and then to go through with it and carry it out for people they don't even know, that they're just taking their lives.
Then they think too,
it's horrible.
Some of them think too that by taking their own life, they're escaping.
Yeah, you taking your own life, you just jump right into the devil's arms. You're gonna be burned in a lake of fire. People think that if you take your life, you're free. You're free. You're not free. Now you're dealing with hell and the devil and his demons. You know, you better make sure you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, even if it's your last breath, because it is important. But I don't know, the children aren't safe in the school. That's the bottom line. You don't know when they're going to pop up. How many school shootings were there this year? Too many. Too many. And then they take their lives, and then they tell me they got mental illness, they got this and that, all these excuses. It's not enough. It's not, people shouldn't be able just to be able to get a gun. They should be able to have to go through rigorous um, applications or whatever to be able to qualify, because it's getting into the wrong hands. It really is. At this point, you got to admit that. So anyway, you guys, thanks for joining us. We're going to sign off. God bless you guys. Don't really like Trump here. And just out there. Yeah, we good over here, because see, our help don't come from people. Our help coming from the Lord. And you know what? I've never wished or wanted to be anything other than how God made me. I am perfectly and wonderfully made. I love my skin color. Wow. I love my complexion. I love who I am. I am the apple of my daddy's eyes. You know, it's like people, you know, they try to like, my help don't come from Trump. Trump don't provide for me. Jesus does.
Daniel, what do you think of Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill? That's one back at you. Probably don't even know what it is, but you need to look it up if you don't.
You know, it's plenty of white jobs, right? It's plenty of Asian jobs, Hispanic jobs, Indian jobs, indigenous, right?
People misunderstood what Trump meant when he said that.
It doesn't matter. If these are adults and they're immature and they act like kids because they're uneducated, they don't.
The illegals had.
They don't
jobs.
know. They don't know what's going on. It's okay. Yeah. That's for another conversation. But we have things to do, like, you know, be a blessing to those that we want to bless. You know, God said, be a blessing to other people. We're blessed to be a blessing. So anyway, we're good over here. We living real well over here. God has never held any good thing from them to walk uprightly. And we are so happy that we know where our help coming from. Our help coming from the Lord. So maybe you'll learn that one day. It's not man. Man is fallible. If you're depending on man, you're done. Okay? That's not us. So anyway, God bless you guys. Thank you. Have a blessed day. And we'll try to jump on here later on, but don't forget to subscribe to Speak the Sports and pray to all here. Thanks, you.